Hey guys, it's Casual Friday, and that means it's Nancy Matz Friday, and we're going to be talking haunted objects. See you in about 5 minutes. Grab your popcorn and snacks. Find a comfy spot, take a seat or lie down, and let me transport you to a place of fantasy, ghost stories, ancient legends, odd creatures, alien encounters, and other magical topics. You may even decide to join the conversation. From faraway lands to your own backyard, with a small dash of pixie dust. Turn out the lights and open your minds. The journey is about to begin. Good evening, everybody. How's everybody doing? I hope you said good. I'm doing good, doing well. Waiting for Nancy to come on into the chat room and get this ball rolling. But my name is Charlotte. I'm going to be your host no matter what for the next hour. I'm also the owner of the California Haunts Paranormal Investigation Team, Sacramento, California. Let me double check this. Maybe I sent her the wrong link by accident. Give me a second, okay? Because I had a bunch of links going through here last night and some pre-record shows that I set up, and maybe I sent her the wrong link. Let me double check. Ah, there she is. Anyway, I'm also the owner of the California Haunts Paranormal Investigation Team based out of Sacramento, California. We are 45 strong. Let me get comfortable here. We're 45 strong up and down the state, and that means we can help you if you think you might have a paranormal problem. It might take us a while to get to you, but we will get to you. California is a big state. I swear my hat's crooked today. It's always crooked. Maybe it's just my head's crooked, right? Anyway, if you're watching from Facebook tonight and you like what you see and you haven't watched before, please be sure to hit that like and follow button, if you haven't followed yet, over Facebook. And you can follow me at my own page on Facebook, or you can follow me at California Haunts Ghostly Events. As well, you can follow me over at Instagram, and that's Ghosty Gal, and that's all lowercase on Instagram. If you're watching from YouTube, same routine. You look at the bottom right-hand corner over here, and there's a little ghost with a magnifying glass, and if you click on him or her, if you click on that, that'll pop up with a nice big red subscribe button, and that subscribe button will lead you to subscribe, and that means you get to get heads up whenever we have any new videos or anything coming up. There's over 490 videos sitting over there. In fact, I'm creeping up on my 500th video, so that means we're probably going to do a special show. I think it's coming up. So I'm creeping up on my 500th video, and so there's something. And because I'm a journalist, I don't like to cover the same stuff all the time, so I like different stuff. So if you look through all those videos, you're sure to find something that appeals to you. Okay. That being said, you can also find us on TikTok at California Haunts, all lowercase. You can find us on Twitter at Cal Haunts, and I gave you everything else a few minutes ago. So there you have it. Today, we're going to talk haunted objects. I'm going to move something over here. Hang on. We're going to talk haunted objects. And, John Zaffis, for a year or so there, had his show Haunted Collector on. And I have a lot of respect for John Zaffis. He's been on the show a couple of times. And the critics were really hard on the show because their attitude was that he was going into people's houses, telling them that they had like a haunted antique, and then taking the antique for himself and storing it in his museum. That was their attitude. All right. I can tell you, from personal experience, and I could probably tell you about my experience later on the show. If you have a haunted object in your house, and even if it's a good thing, but there's stuff moving around your house and stuff like that, you're not going to really want it in your house. You're going to want to do something with it. Okay. And that's why there's people like John Zaffis to come, that you can send stuff to, or to come and check it out and collect it, because you really don't want that thing wanted in your house. All right. So what John Zaffis has done is terrific, because he's got that museum, and he takes the stuff and collects it. I mean, it's not only him. The Warrens have their own museum, and even Zach, right? Zach from Ghost Adventures has his museum where he gets haunted objects as well and keeps them. They're like the keeper of the haunted objects. So we're going to talk about some of this tonight, and I have a case that I did out in Vallejo a few years back that we can talk about as well. So I'm going to bring Nancy on, and away we go. Here we go.
I'm here. Oh, that sounds like something from a spook show. I'm here. I actually have some cases we'll talk about, and one that's more or less personal to me. And then I have some references, and we've all watched the movies Conjure, or I think it was the second one,
Yeah.
The Chair in England, that was haunted because the guy wouldn't move after he died. I don't know if he took his own life, but the family moved in, didn't know the gentleman was still sitting in that chair.
That's crazy.
Aha, let's get in that chair together. So that's really,
You never know. It could have gone the other way, and you're sitting in the guy's lap, so we're not even going to go there.
I was implying that.
That's what
Duh.
I thought. See, some people
I
have
I
rated.
can I can say I'm old. I can get away with it.
Some people have. Some people have rated R shows. Some people have PG shows. We have an
I
AG
was trying.
show.
I was trying to a- age it before it's common sense. Love
No,
it.
AG is anything goes, right?
I took it another way. I mean, it all
Well,
depends on how you want to take something. And
whoever takes it, right, right. That
okay,
would be
okay,
really
we got.
freaky to find out you've been sitting in this chair and all of a sudden, whoopee! Yeah, okay, we're gonna go there.
I don't think so, but I think that the agitation after a while, like he's sitting there thinking, "Why is this person on my lap? How dare they be in my home? Let
Yeah,
alone." I call this a conscious haunting. Like he's not going to move. He. I think he realized he was dead, but this was his house. He was angry. He was just all. So he was not going to leave until he had good reason to leave,
just an
and that.
FYI, I'm about to make a really loud noise because my desk is so small. I have an empty water bottle and I really have no place to put it. So here we go. Ready? Just like the Russians. Salute! There we go. Okay, we're gone now.
It's when you put it
You
on the
can
floor and tap it with your foot, honey.
you can just tell what kind of night it's gonna be. Yeah.
Hi, Jerry, Marissa. I moved over to the comments. Anyway, I want to give credit to a couple articles. At least one article I have here. I did Google this. I don't have a lot of articles that people can read. Um, can objects be haunted? And this was written by Andrew Adams, ksltv.com, October 31st.
Mm.
2020 and 2018. I like some of the things he said. Yeah, they all have their own spirit, meaning um, furniture can have its own. People love furniture. I just have furniture that comes from the influence, I believe, from a past life because I started having flashes of France about 5 years after I bought my French furniture. No, it's not the girly silver looking, but it's definitely not my era. But I felt so compelled to buy it. And I do love it. And most of you don't know, one of the things I want to do is continue learning chess. And one of the tables is a chessboard with two
Oh, I love
chairs
chess.
that match it. Yeah, it's beautiful. Humans have the ability to leave part of their essence, part of their soul, as it were, in something that they have created and that they used. Occasionally, Evans acknowledged that spirit or energy can prove to be negative. And I would say also, um, my life doesn't start just because I'm on the radio here. I guess at some point, do you love something so much that even if you're going to die or you have to sell it, you keep a piece of it with you? I kind of think so. And if you're somebody who is possessive of furniture and you're forced to have it removed, you're angry. Does that energy that was part of you now go with that furniture in an angry mode? I believe that all of it is true. Um, So I was going to be humorous with this. How many of us, excuse me, all of us, antique, uh, secondhand store, thrift markets, Roseville auction, some of these places where you can look, oh my gosh, how much fun it is to see furniture that's been handed down by generations. And unfortunately, some people have to pass over and then they're sold, or as it doesn't fit in other people's families' homes.
Hmm.
But it's treasures that we can now have. But I really do believe, as with watches and rings that you can buy at a jewelry store, how many of us have looked at antique rings? So my grandmother, who was a silent screen movie star, a mentor once, it's fun to mention family. She was very, very popular. And she was engaged and married. We don't know for sure how many times, but it was clearly between the first husband and last husband. And she got a 3 carat ring. And she wore it and wore it and wore it. And it passed down, and I never really could wear it. Or I have it. It's for the family, but for me, who's super, super sensitive, I plan on passing it down to the women in our family. I have a son. He has 2 daughters. My daughter has a daughter, that kind of a thing. So you kind of wonder what you do. But if I'm so sensitive, who else could be? That's very personal to me. So I have to really think about that. But she had this beautiful ring with lots of diamonds and diamonds and diamonds, and you wonder, what's the story behind that? Because she didn't have it for the first marriage, and she didn't have it for the last one. So you kind of wonder, who was it? We have photographs of her with very elegant men because of that era. And
Hmm.
so it's kind of interesting to think, what's the story behind the story? So if you have a chance to get hold of Can Objects Be Haunted? Andrew and Adams. That's hard to say quick. What are they parents thinking? Andrew Adams, October 31st, 2018. It was very well done. Um, and then I want to tie it together. There's another one. Another place might be interesting. Go. I give credit to people that will do this. Go on eBay or Etsy, ETSY, and type in haunted objects. And they have a marketplace for it. It's haunted underscore objects. And you will find multiple sites declaring haunted objects. I kind of think maybe not all of them are haunted. They haven't hired me to get the vibes off of them. I could, but do they want that? How about a house being haunted? Same thing.
Hmm.
Is it a house object? Absolutely. Absolutely. So I think this is all kind of fun. Shar will, uh, what, honey? Are you
Let me add
meant?
into the house thing to explain to people when you mean that a house could be haunted.
It's an
Walls,
object.
right? It's an object plus walls, whether it's wood or it's plaster. Walls can absorb energy. So if there's a lot of if there's a lot of I'm having
Go ahead,
problems
just
too.
spit it out, honey.
There's a lot of if there's a lot of high energy in the house.
And there's some cultures. My
Hmm.
mother was a very quiet person. And I love standing in front of a group of people. I have something to say. I entertain really every weekend for 15 years. Do you think I was
Hmm.
tired? One of the pushes to move out of California, my new husband said, "You need a break. Why don't we go to Tucson and you do the events in Arizona
Hmm.
and we'll come back and forth." Well, guess what? 2 years later, the recession happened. But uh, I do love that. But in my private life, people know me as very quiet.
Right.
And I like being quiet. And I like being in my home. I like my environment. It's very colorful. I have beautiful things in here. And I like that. But I'm not a split personality. But I have to say, for those of you who aren't aware, I do have a couple websites. My name, nancymatz.com, nancymatzauthor.com. But on Nancy Matz, the store or places where you could buy product, go down the bottom page. There's myself and a friend named Shar with two big dolls, and they are what we call Catherine's Creations.
Wow.
And they're 4.5, 5 feet tall. Iris and Rose. I love those dolls. I walk up, I go, the one of them, look, unfortunately, mom, my mom says, don't hear this wrong, mom. And Iris looks like my mother when she got older. And I go and I hold her face and oh, mom, how are you doing today? Or Iris. And I put a lot of love into these dolls. So eventually, do I need to sell them? I probably will. Who will get them? I hope with a lot of love because they will go with a halo of love around them. They've never been
Hmm.
abused. Nothing of mine's abused, but those dolls look like small humans, 4.5 feet tall, 5 feet almost. Rose, who's Hispanic looking, she's a larger girl. And Iris, who's a tiny, scrawny little thing, she's she's the shorter of the two. Anyway, I wrote a play, and something funny happened on the way to the altar. And these two old ladies meet at the wedding. So if you want me to do more on that, you will have to have a discussion later on. Okay. Uh, go ahead, Char,
What
your
I
turn.
was saying when my lips tightened up was that wood, believe it or not, wood will hold energy, and if you have a lot of arguing or high energy in the house,
Mhm.
or
Yeah.
even what they call an imprint of say like from my house for example, it doesn't happen yet. I haven't seen him, but my grandfather every Saturday night would take a bath at 7:30 p.m.
Ah,
So every Saturday night he would come out of his bedroom and walk to the bathroom and get in the tub. Now, this happened for like 5 years. There's an imprint there of him taking that walk down my hallway.
Mhm,
Now,
mhm,
sometimes that's where you get these things where the ghosts don't interact with you, but it's like a playback, like a tape playing back. That's an
mhm.
imprint. That's why when Nancy says houses can do that, they can because even bricks will hold energy like that.
Absolutely. I
So,
have a belief that things that had life in them at one time, like wood,
mhm,
can then again have life attached to it.
right.
So
Like
anything with wood, and I've lived in wood houses during my first marriage, wood ceilings, beams, that type of thing, and I don't know that it helped any.
now, I have one story, and I'm going to shut up. You
Oh, can
guys
I
all
wait a
know.
minute? Let me
Okay, go ahead.
finish this.
You
I
go
trying to
first. Yeah.
thought.
Okay.
Most
We're on a
most of
roll.
you most of you know that I communicate with deceased people, and I also dedicate a lot, not a lot, but a surprising number of people call me about deceased loved ones,
Mhm,
and then I deal with the death and dying. And I was actually hospice for a few years. It took a lot of my time, and I just didn't. I'm not a wealthy woman. I had to work, so I couldn't stay with it. But I do like it. And one of the things I tell people of a deceased family member that was living in like in Char's situation, that's
mhm.
what I did want to talk about that. Um, Say you're widowed and your husband was, or the vice versa, or you had grandma and grandpa living with you. There's such a thing as creating a pattern. We all have patterns in our life. We have a routine. But
Mhm,
seniors, if they're lucky enough to live that long, I hope we all get to, usually they'll be comfortable in a chair and they'll get up and go into the kitchen, they'll go into the
mhm,
bathroom, they go in the garage, and I call it the rut. A rut is created, and they don't deviate a lot. And sometimes I can walk into a house, which is very odd, is I'll walk into a dip of energy. I go, oops, that man walked here. And sometimes people will pick that up and start grieving all over again.
mhm,
And so there and hospice training plus what I've 32 years, everybody better know what I'm talking about, right? I say you have to break that up. And you don't have to buy all new furniture. You don't have to do a lot. Sometimes moving living plants around.
mhm,
I'm a real I don't have a Hobby Lobby near me, nor did I when I was on Black Mountain near Wairika. Um, Little tiny mirrors that you can get at Hobby Lobby or one of the craft stores. Glue them to a string or a little piece of rope and have two or three of them in, like in the window or in a corner and refract light.
mhm,
Painting a wall, accents wall. Um, just rearranging the furniture so somebody doesn't have to walk in the same path. Very, very important. If you're grieving, unfortunately, grieving to me, as with anger, looks like leopard spots on you. And it's very hard because you get grieving and you just hold it in. You're off. It's terrible. I'm so sorry. I've grieved. So I'm not like immune to what you're talking about. I grieved myself because I almost died a couple of times. And we grieve for a loss, potential loss. And so we have to carry it on us. We don't have to. What that does is it reinfects you just like a haunted object. People walking around you, you're haunted object of your own stuff. So
mhm.
I tell people you have to work it off of you. Get a Nerf baseball bat, go to the forest, the ghost backyard, or the garage, beat it off. I'm no angry no more. Blah blah. If you're grieving, redirect the grieving. Have beautiful things around you. Pick up everything in the house that makes you grieve the most and create a shrine. Redirect that. Go somewhere else
Mhm.
and to turn it around. I'm not trying to turn the topic tonight, but it's
Right.
part of being haunted. You're haunted. Objects are haunted of grieving. Is you have to turn around the grieving of a lost parent is the rejoicing that that person was in your life at all. How many hours, how many days, how many months, how many years can you reflect back on the good times? Try to reverse that because then you become the haunted person that no one wants to be around. Does that make sense, everybody? I try not to. That's
Mhm.
very delicate. I talk a lot about that. It's very hard when someone's lost a child or a parent. Recently, I've had a few. Just in the last couple of weeks, I've had, watch my eyes, everybody, three or four, just in the last couple of weeks,
Wow.
which is astounding number. But this is what I do for a living. This is what I can do for you. So, give you tools. That's what I call it. Don't become the object in your life. That's
Mhm.
also very, very important. And then now I'll turn it over to Shar. Oops, the other way,
Okay.
Shar.
So let's talk about haunted furniture a little bit. I had a case in Vallejo of a
Uh-huh.
woman who like to collect antiques. Big alarm right there, right? Remember when we go when my team goes out to look at a house that's having activity, we look at every piece of furniture in the house to see what it
Mhm.
is, whether it's new,
Mhm.
whether it's antique. And then if it looks kind of older, we'll ask them, hey, where do you get your furniture? Do you buy it from Sears or well, not Sears anymore, but Weinstock or Pennies or Levitt's or wherever the hell else.
Well, Sears
And,
Sears went out a couple of years back, but
well, I'm just saying,
Penny's
not
also.
Sears
Yeah.
anymore.
Macy's
I
is
was
there.
gonna say Montgomery Wards, but that's out too.
But it could be that
So
old char.
it shows, yeah, it could be that old. So we asked them where they got the furniture from because we want to know. Do you do antiquing? Do you do this? This woman loved to do antiquing, so she
It's
buys this
fun.
big, yeah. So her bedroom's beautiful. I mean, it's got antique stuff in there. It's got this big antique. I don't know what you got. Is it what they call them? Clothes closet with the mirrors on there. Real big thing,
Oh, boudoirs.
Yeah,
Boudoirs or
but
something,
yeah,
huh?
whatever you call that. And so she mentioned, she says, I got this thing, and I started having nightmares.
Oh, no.
And right away, I call the psychic in, Sabrina at that time. And Sabrina walks in and she goes, "Come here, I need to talk to you." And I said, "What?" She goes, "I see blood."
Oh, God.
What do you
Oh,
mean you
no,
see
she saw
blood?
blood?
I see blood all over. I see blood all over the bottom part of that closet. I
Oh.
said, "What do you mean?" She says, "He chopped him up." I mean, this is crazy. You're standing there and you're like, "What the heck?" But apparently, what she picked up on it, and we verified it later on. This thing had happened
Uh-huh.
back east, whatever this was. That this gentleman had gone insane and had chopped up his kids
Oh. Oh.
and hid them from his wife in the drawers.
As though they would never be lost.
Right.
Not
The drawers in the bottom of this thing.
as though the
And
wife would never
so
ask again about
yeah.
them.
So apparently somebody got it
Oh,
later
no.
on and did the restain on it so you couldn't see what was in there and all that. But this is part of what was going on at this woman's house
I
was this
can't
thing.
imagine.
And
Mhm.
so we had to tell her. We said, "Well, we're sorry, but where did you get this?" So we had to trace it back and everything. And I said, "Unless you want to keep having nightmares, you're going to have to do something with this. Get rid of it. Do something."
Not
And
necess
I'm
you don't have to you will have to cover that. I don't know that you have to get rid of it, but you have to turn it
yeah,
around
or
for sure.
something to fix it. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
to fix the situation. But I mean, she was really going through a lot of torment with this thing, in the house. And I
Mhm.
remember it was one of my first times out with my team, and I
Oh,
remember
no.
I was the budding psychic, but I was good enough. Like if there were any ghosts or anything, I could hold
Mhm.
them in a room
Mhm.
so that they wouldn't come out because she wanted to talk to this woman without these ghosts coming out to hear the conversation. So I'm sitting there and I'm thinking about this murder, right? So I'm sitting there in this dark room,
Oh,
and she's like,
in the
"Yeah,
dark
stay,
room.
stay in there and watch the ghosts." And so,
I could see Sabrina doing it. I could
yeah,
what you told me
and
about
so
it,
I'm
right?
sitting there and I'm just like, "Oh my god, what am I supposed to be doing? I'm holding the ghosts in here. The guy's a murderer.
Right?
Okay, I'm good." You know. So that's my experience, other than my own personal one with a haunted object, because that was wild. When the psychic walks in and goes, "Oh my god, there's blood everywhere. I see blood." It's like, what? You know. But
Were you
Sabrina
able
was
to
like
find
that.
a story on it?
Yeah, we actually did research on it, and this thing had been built in the 1700s
Oh my
back east,
goodness.
and it made its way out to California apparently after the murders. And there's even a record of a alleged murder that happened. So we kind of were able to piece it together.
um, Not every piece has murder on it. I was saying about my French furniture, which I bought new, but I turned around and I did go to uh, I forgot the name of it, a furniture store in Folsom, California. Doesn't matter. Anyway, they found antiques and redid them. So the French piece I got actually had padlocks and dividers at 1750. And I had it for quite a while, but for some reason it didn't quite match me. Maybe it was a man's dresser, I don't know. But I gave it
Hmm.
to my granddaughter for one of her little girls, and she painted it rainbow colors, green, yellow, blue. And I tell you, the energy switched, boom, just like that. And I loved it. It was so girly and had cute little buttons on it now. And I thought to myself, she didn't know she changed energy on that.
Hmm.
Maybe someone who created it was all antique. blue with goldy kind of look.
Sure.
And maybe I didn't care for it, or it just didn't seem to fit. It was the wrong size, the wrong width,
Hmm.
it didn't fit. I gave it to little my granddaughter, and they sat all weekend painting two different dresses. But that one, here it was a very old antique. I just paid way too much money for it. And it turned out to be a little girl's dresser, 4-year-old. I loved it. I loved it. So you can change the energy if you purposely to change the energy.
I
You don't want
believe
to
that.
keep any of the old wood.
One of the
Hmm?
things Sabrina would tell us, if we ran into an angry man or somebody that was angry and stuck in a rut like that, to give him a flower
Um,
to soften it, to change the energy by giving him the
and I'll
flower.
give, I tell you, so I worked telephone company for 24 years, and early in the career, I was selected to be a service rep. Yay! I changed my mind.
How fun is that?
And they put me through school, right? Like, okay, this doesn't work. But I learned in the class that, and this is the reason they're giving me all this claim, that you would never be lucky enough to talk to someone who wasn't angry. And they said, when you talk to someone's angry, you always are pleasant and smile,
Mhm,
even though they don't know it. If they
mhm,
really shout at you, you lower your voice. But you know why? Because angry people can't hear you if you're softening your voice. And when they yell and scream and you're there, all you do is, uh-huh, uh-huh. Because a lot of times they have to voice it out. Let's go back to the dresser. You go up
yes.
to it. Yes, I've done this. And I have another story about a piece of furniture.
Go for
Um,
it.
you might have been on this case. So you have a haunted piece. Um, I'm kind of like I cheated a little bit. I actually became a spiritualist minister the old-fashioned way. I had to study for 15 years. No, I studied for 2 years, but I was in the spiritualist church, actually environment every weekend for 15 years. So I put my dues in. And so I can shift my energy like when I do a reading. And so I go up to something and I go, whoa, oh, I take a breath and I'm going to intentionally love this. And I go, just like holding a baby. And I lower my breath and I say, I love you. Screws them all up. They can't figure it out. Why you love me? What? And you keep it up until you feel no longer the stress of something. You have to do it continually. And I would absolutely paint the inside of the drawers. You don't have to paint outside. You have to change it. Change it on the wall. Put flowers
Mhm,
on it. You have to purposely change it. There isn't a thing in the universe that doesn't want attention and love. If something's insane, you cradle it, you love it, you say you're sorry. And I've talked about this in my ghost investigations that people have hired me purposely. I never go in with anger. I know the TV shows do, and they get success. I can't do that because I'm not an angry person. I so rarely get angry. It's just unbelievable. It's just what it is. And when I do, I say, is this worth the anger? No? Okay. We stop. My husband and I. It went 5 minutes. Well, wait a minute. What's this about? And so we just talk it out. At no point ever angry. And that's a way you treat spirit people. And you go, why are you angry? What's making you happy? And sometimes you can't hear it all because they're incoherent. Are they a conscious spirit or unconscious spirit? Are they a conscious ghost or unconscious ghost? You have to plan what you want to say ahead of time so you don't lose track. Keep notes, keep your voice low, and pretend you're holding an infant because that's what they need. Have I been in a room with things thrown? Yes, in this house. But at the same time, they don't know that I'm hearing them. And I go, oh crap, they're keeping me up again. You go, well, okay. As long as I'm not being, something's not going to be tossed in the room. I don't care. It's really fun. I've enjoyed it a lot because these people are living, which proves to me if you're in our world, you come around, listen to us. We're not talking fly. We're not, I'm trying to be tactful here. We're talking the truth. Why would I say anything but what I believe? These people exist, and we exist after this mortal form we're wearing kind of gives up the ghost, the ghost spirit. And so I'm more amused by the people who don't succeed in passing over healthy than not. You have a problem in your house, let me go talk to this person. I wish I win a big lotto so I could just do it for fun. just to
Matt,
help everybody. I wish I didn't have to make a living
can
doing
we
that.
say that when we're out shopping, if we're looking at stuff at an antique store, if we pick something up and it doesn't, there's just something about it that doesn't feel right, that it would be
Yeah,
wise to put it back down.
yeah.
You know,
Are you asking me, do I put it
I'm
back
asking
down?
you that question. Yeah,
Oh, what? I thought you were talking.
I'm
Come
like,
on,
what are you
everybody in the room. Are
doing?
you? I was listening to you tell a story.
Okay, yeah,
Um,
that's not
I it if it's a small object, then it was used in violence. There's nothing I can do about it.
right. Okay.
So if it's bigger because a woman was grieving her death of her husband, or a child was in the closet and put a lot of negative energy because they were
Right.
afraid, those are things you can deal with. You can love it to death, kill it with kindness. Have you ever had the expression, you have a boss you can't handle? Kill him with
Hmm.
kindness. Turn it around. You can do that.
But isn't that a risk we all take? Like when we go in, like people that like antiquing, and you go to an antique
Oh,
shop and you see something you like. I mean, it's a risk to buy anything. I'm
hmm
not saying don't buy antiques. That's not what I'm saying.
we don't
But
want
there's
to
a
kill
risk.
the culture.
Yeah, but there's a risk to everything. I mean, you're getting somebody else's stuff, and like Nancy says, somebody. Even I was just thinking of a Little House on the Prairie thing, where Charles was out with this guy. They were furniture makers, and this guy passed away, and he goes to the house because he made him a real nice tombstone. And by the time he got to the house was sold, the family was moving, and there was nothing left of this guy. And Charles was
Mm,
all upset over it because he says, "Oh, I have no mark on the world." But then later on, you see
mm.
that he made this furniture, and it's like now 19, well, back to 1980, and people were bidding on it, and his initials are on there, where he made his mark. And I think that's where that happens too, because you're trying to say, okay, I want to be remembered. This is how I'm remembered,
I think
and
we're
so you
all like
attach
that.
this.
Sure, absolutely. Of course, I was listening to you and thinking of something I want to say now. I want to tell a story, another tidbit here. Were
Hmm.
you, so there was a couple lived in an apartment in Rockland, and they asked me to come out. It seemed like someone took me there. Anyway, they asked me to check on the furniture in their bedroom. It was really beautiful. Great big pieces of log as pillars, and in the bed, it was ropes instead of our metal spring. We had the mattress and we had the spring thing
Hmm.
underneath. This was ropes. And I went in and I looked on the bed and there was this old skinny guy laying there with his arms crossed. And I went, "What are you doing there?" And he said, "This is my bed." And I looked around. That you wasn't your group, huh?
I don't think
Maybe it
no,
was
it wasn't us. I don't
Kathy,
remember that
maybe
one.
Kat. Okay, so someone had taken me there to check on this, and this was a lovely couple. They had a child, and he had husband. It was a young couple had purchased. Maybe Kathy, if you ever hear this, was it your group? Anyway, I looked at him. I says, "What are you doing here? You're just." I can't remember what I said, but he disappeared. And I think I could remember he had blue eyes, and he was looking around like, why was he here? Just because he made the bed? It's almost like I made him think he was a conscious ghost. He wasn't going to leave, but he
Hmm.
had enough determination that he wanted to stay. But all I did was ask him a question. I says, "Why do you want to stay here? You don't have to stay here. You can go on." And he
Hmm.
knew what that meant. I must have said other things because I was looking at him next moment, he was gone. And I thought, well, how about that? It was great. I thought, I don't even know how old it was. It was just massive, like you would see in a Yellowstone, the TV
Hmm.
series. The big house, the big beds. Yeah. Yeah, it's that kind of a thing. Here was this skinny old guy laying with his arms crossed. He must have died in that position on a mattress of some sort. I just
That's
loved it.
incredible. Also, it's incredible. It's just incredible the stuff that you come across doing this work, because I mean there's no thing that you can wrap your mind around when you come in contact with this stuff and realize that
Right.
that's what it is.
Well, it's
And
hard to
some
believe it's
people,
possible.
yeah,
It's
it's hard
hard
to
to
believe
believe
it's
it's
possible.
real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And look at the
Um,
people with the haunted dolls. I mean, let's talk about some of these haunted dolls. I mean, like the Conjuring doll. I mean, she's scary. That doll is really scary.
I
And it's a raggedy. What kills you? It's in reality. It's not. It doesn't look like it did in the Conjuring kids. It's a Raggedy Ann. And
yeah,
what little girl doesn't have a Raggedy Ann when they're
I
growing
did.
up?
I
I
think
did
I
too.
did.
I
Had
had
a
one. I had a
cloth
couple.
doll. Uh-huh.
Hmm. And it comes to mind. I was watching. paranormal witness the other night, and they had one about a doll. And you just reminded me because this little doll looked like this little girl, and she fell in love
Oops.
with this doll. They no sooner get this doll, and the little girl has her own little imaginary friend she starts playing with, and it escalates from there. And then all of a sudden, the parents are noticing that the chandeliers are rotating, and all this stuff's going on, and and they're trying to figure out what's going on. And finally dawns on them it's this doll. Priest comes in, does an exorcism of the house or the apartment. Of course, nothing gets accomplished because the doll was whatever it was went into hiding. So she ends up throwing it in the garbage can. Last scene of the show is that it falls off the garbage truck, and some little girl's riding her bike and she fixed this doll up. It's just like,
Sound like
okay,
Chuck, that series of Chucky.
yeah,
They threw it in the garbage. Someone found it, picked it up. There's
yeah,
other, right? Um, I have no input because I just never put my mind to anything that they show on TV because I don't
hmm,
want to. They all have stories. People believe them. They have to work with them. They could have cleaned them, cleared them, whatever, and then they put them away for safety. I can't go there. I don't want to. These are stories you and I have talked about and references. I would like to give a couple things, a couple of thoughts on this thing. Um, I do believe that energy grows, creates, becomes. I also believe that energy, spirit, peoples can jump from one thing to another.
hmm,
So I talked to you last time of why people don't believe they're dead or they don't go on. Sometimes it's amusement, but why not a child who dies goes to her favorite doll
hmm,
and can't leave? I do believe that's possible. So the doll has to have a rescue. We have
hmm,
to determine if that child who died didn't go on but stayed with her toy. That's something we have to address, and I believe that does happen. Um, does it mean the child will go to another doll or another toy? I'm just addressing things I've heard of. Okay. Um, uh, Possessions in the house can have an addictive attitude to it. Different, like a spirit will die and be so addicted to the furniture that it would go with that furniture and then get tired and stay with another piece and be passed around, passed around. I do believe that's possible also. Just because they became addicted to the furniture they owned.
hmm,
And what woman out there doesn't have a ring or a piece of furniture they loved? So if I
yeah,
have this ring, I find it's a safe deposit box. I give it to my daughter. I stay with the ring because it belonged to my grandmother, and it's absolutely gorgeous. Everybody, absolutely. And she gives it to her daughter, and her daughter. What if I stayed with it?
hmm,
Absolutely. Does it mean it's haunted? It means it has an attachment. Different storyline. Um, so the energy can be, um, say someone jumps from a 13th floor building,
hmm,
9/11, and someone finds a watch. What is the energy of that? Energy of that watch. We talked about possessions being negative or positive. Sometimes you can't clear it. Sometimes it's final moments of distress. I would have a hard time wearing something or wanting to that belonged to an item of someone who died violently. My father was killed violently, and I don't know what I have of his, but I believe that somewhere we have a watch of his. And of course, I would never wear it. But what do I do with it? You love it. You have to love it. You have to love it. But in a violent moment, the body is um, distressed, and that energy goes out. I also believe that cars have that. So it was probably early 90s. People like me, I've been doing this for so long, but I also believe, and I always spoke of this, that the abilities really erupted 80, 84. I had cancer at 80 in 1987. I got divorced in 1990. Let's get all that stress. 90. Got into this 92. But the murder I predicted was in the morning. It happened that night. So I'm not talking about someone, I'm not talking about myself not having experience with this.
hmm,
And I have to be really careful when I advise people of possessions. And it occurred to me that the violence of death, like the Lizzie Borden home, so the person that got murdered was by his wife on furniture they owned. And I always wondered, what do we do if it's still in the family? What do we do with watches of a violent death? Something to really think about. Can we really heal it? Is it really the spirit or is it just negative energy? People believe that salt, I have no answer to that. I'm not an advocate of anything that has aroma to it. Spirit
hmm,
people say they can't smell. They pretend they remember which is fascinating to me. Uh, Coffee, French bread. things that are very aromatic. They will say to me, "Would you have a cup of coffee for me?" They'll see them at the restaurants walking around looking at everybody's tabletop. Are you eating French bread or what are you eating that's smelly? So they can remember, right? So when you have to clean an object, I think it's love light, put it in the sun, dissipate it with affection. Um, everybody has a means. I won't take my personal recommendation as gospel because I just don't know everything and I don't want to know everything. I think what works for you is the best thing that you can use and believe it, but you have to love it. You have enough belief in something that will carry it all over. So the same with I mentioned earlier my church environment. When you have so much belief that is absolute, then when I do a investigation, a haunting, or whatever, that level of belief precedes me. That power precedes me, and the spirit or it will pay attention to me. Does that make sense, everybody?
Mhm.
So just my belief in that will sometimes heal something. I can't heal everything, please. I just, you know, been been at this a long time, and I'm not young anymore. So,
I have
uh,
heard stories of families passing down haunted
mhm.
heirlooms to younger family members.
Right,
There's a
right.
lot of stories out there like that,
Well,
where you
what
get
family doesn't have that kind of thing? I have more notes over here. We may run out of time again. What about jewelry on a dead
yeah,
body?
I
Same
saw that.
same thing, honey. Uh, my father was killed in a car drunk driver. So at the morgue, he had a watch that was given to my mother, and that I have. It's in pieces, but it's a watch. So it was a dead body. It went through violence. Um, put it in the sun if it doesn't, love it up. Um, your belief system, Marissa, would be very important. Do you love who wore it? Put that love into the watch. If you didn't love that person, I would put it in salt. I would put it outside. Whatever you feel would cleanse it will do it because the power of your mind is absolute. And I know who
Absolutely,
you
yeah.
are, Marissa. Power of our thought is absolute. Absolutely. Oh, I said it twice in one sentence, Nancy. Hello. Marissa, thank you very much. That was a good question, honey. Um, any more
What about
questions in the
clothes? How about Goodwill? People go to Goodwill to buy clothes.
oh, oh my gosh. I think nowadays people don't wear enough clothes enough to make it. I love thrift stores. I go and I usually look at the tag to see that it's not been worn
Hmm.
because I get kind of goosey. So I'm kind of particular. I think what grabs me is I'll see 10 pairs of shoes, all the same size, all the same style. And I
Hmm.
think, oops, someone doesn't wear them anymore.
Hmm.
I'll stay away from things that are obvious. Obvious.
Or stuff that looks really oldie timey. Like
Mm,
my mom's era, for instance. When my mom was alive, and stuff
yeah.
from the era that she would be dressed in. There's a lot of it sitting there, and you're like, whoops, no, I don't think so.
On the other side, it would be kind of curious to get a couple pieces like that and see if they have emotions and feelings to it. You
Now,
know,
I've known paranormal investigators who like we have our own shirts that we wear when we go out, and I've known paranormal investigators that after they go do an investigation, they get rid of the shirts or they burn them. Every investigation.
remember, belief system is
Yeah.
everything. If they believe that they have, um, well, I want to find the right word. If they feel like it bled over onto them
Mhm.
or it attached to them, because I do believe in attachments now too, you cannot do something without being careful not to have an attached person, a spirit person attached to you. And I was doing an investigation with George Lopez, Port Orange Paranormal in 2012. And we were doing it, and all of a sudden I saw this big blob on this guy, mentioned it to the guy on the phone. Excuse me, everybody. I see it in my head. I don't need a TV. Anyway, I was doing the investigation. I was watching the people in the house through this. And I said to the guy, I says, how's so and so feeling? And he says, oh man, oh, he was griping. He says, oh my, funny you should say that, my chest. And I said, I'll take care of that. And with my hand out, put my mind to my hand, I went and pushed into the room, boof, like this.
Mhm.
And and I said, okay, it's done. And so the guy I was talking to turned around to the fella that I was described He was just a tall guy. He said, "How you feel?" He says, he raised his shoulders. He says, "I feel really good now." So with my mind, I pushed that off of him. So through his body, up through underneath the rib cage, through his wing bone in the back. What that taught me, and that can be any of these can be challenged. I can find these. These are all shows still on Blog Talk Radio, everybody. And what that taught me uh, is how powerful our minds are. Yes, I have ability. I have a lot of body energy. I'll be 75 in a couple of months. And what that tells you is that my even at my age, I have a lot of body energy. We can manipulate it. That's why people like myself can do readings in all parts of the world. It's because I can move my life force. You can do it too. Um, I've been at this 32 years. I haven't lost my wind yet. I do tire out. But what that tells me is our mind's absolute. If you force your mind onto a situation, you could push it off that. If you believe the item is possessed or contaminated, look at it as pure. Put it on silk and make it beautiful. Whatever it takes, whatever your belief system is, that will heal it or clean it.
Just looking down there.
Hey, what's up,
Ah, I
girls?
was gonna say
Oh,
new face in the chat room. I see that.
football player, I think. Anyway, my son's a
Anyway,
football player. Yes. What's up? We're talking ghosts and possessions, young man. If it's a fella here. Um, it's really a fascinating topic. I could probably talk a little longer than most people have time for. We got 15 minutes. Shar, you want to talk about this any longer?
well, yeah.
Left
I
behind.
mean, we have an
Go ahead.
announcement to make too at the end.
Oh,
But I
let's do
mean,
this right now then. Let's do the
okay,
announcement. It'll
okay,
run
we
out
have
of
an
time.
announcement to make. So Nancy and I did a project yesterday. Was it yesterday or the day before? One of those days.
A couple days.
Where I had a client come in. It was a referral from someone else, and she just wanted a simple reading or a reading on her house
She
because
was
she
in
was having.
California. She moved from Grass Valley to
Yeah, she moved.
Pennsylvania.
Yeah, she moved to Pennsylvania, and she wanted a reading done because um, she was having issues in her new house. And so I went ahead and set this up with Nancy, and we did it. And we kind of came up with this really cool kind of program thing so that California Haunts can get some extra cash going so we can buy equipment and stuff and do things. Where if you want a reading from Nancy Matz, all right, this is what we can do.
Not personal. Has to be
Right,
haunting.
has to be a haunting kind of thing, something like that.
Hmm.
If you're having issues in your house or something's going on, um, Nancy will do a full reading on the house or object or whatever, and then she'll take a donation, and the donation comes back to California Haunts to help keep us going and do our thing. And so that's what we're offering right now. That's what we're offering. So if anybody out there listening has what they think is a haunting going on in their house or something like that, look us up. Look us up.
I, I want to add too, this was a lovely young woman.
Hmm.
And starting out, she bought the house. And um, what startled me at first is when you mentioned it about 3 weeks ago, we've been really busy. And I kind of pinned her down. I said, Char, we got to get to this lady. She's got issues. And I, I put my mind to her.
Hmm.
The house disappeared. I was standing in a field. And I went, Char, I can't see that house. And I thought, oh my God. And then I saw the house and then went in the house. It was a mother, father, and a daughter. And the daughter was very young, looking like a 13 to 15-year-old, late 1850, 18, late 18, something. It was the dress that caught me attire, and the man looked like he lived longer, but it was
Hmm.
him that was walking around. And uh, I think I think it was you also that had me talk to another group of people um, 2 or 3 months back
Yeah.
about same thing. It's like the
Hmm.
people from the past aren't aware that they're doing the hauntings. This man was still looking for his daughter. Really
Hmm.
sad, sad. But what threw me off is I couldn't tell where the house was that this woman was living in this neighborhood and that house. And I at the time when I do something like that, kind of write down those things and
Hmm.
then look it up because I saw it so clear. I can tell you it was a gray blue colored house, 2 story square. It
Hmm.
was so clear to me. I went, now what do I do? Like, but it's fascinating that it even happened. Doesn't happen every time. But that is called layering. And
Hmm.
so I will fall into different times. And Shar just told me today, she says, I wonder what I'd do if I took you somewhere and you go in there and the house disappears and you don't know what room you're in. I says, I walk into a wall. What do you think?
Well,
I'm actually,
I also told Nancy I've been out on cases with psychics, and it's happened to my own team, my own psychic team, where they're in the doing their reading and their trance thing, walking around, and they'll walk right into a wall in an old hotel because that's where a door was once.
yeah,
So it's funny as hell. It's not good for them because they hit their head on the side of the wall, but it's funny as hell to watch.
it doesn't happen too often, but it does happen. And because I do so much on the phone, I'm I know what I'm doing and I can
Hmm.
explain it. The question is, why am I able to do it? And I love layering. It's like when the time she had me go through the hotel from my home, and I saw President
Right.
Grant there. And
Hmm.
I went, what is he doing there standing in front with his horse? Because I layered down to the time he was there. And when he was there, everybody went, oh my gosh, and put a lot of bubble of energy on that timeline. So then later on, Char is walking around and she calls me up screaming at the phone, you won't believe this, but there's a picture of President Grant on the second floor in the wall. I said, really?
Oh
So
yeah.
I'd love to be validated because it's crazy to think this is impossible. And all these years, every time something new happens, I wish I kept a diary because it's all kind
She
of
still
amazing to me.
astound. She could still astound me. I did another hotel where she
Mm.
had done that, and she says, "Well, you're going to go upstairs, and off to the left, you're going to see a row of rocking chairs. He sits in the
No,
first
no,
chair
a
over."
hallway. You
Oh
walk
yeah,
upstairs,
hallway
you
or something
turn
like
left,
that.
and then you turn left again, then you
Yeah,
take
yeah,
a
yeah.
right. The last room to the left.
So I go walking up there, and my God, everything's there like she says. Or if I go into a house and she's
Well,
described a
tell 'em
couple
about
of
the
the
rocking
rooms.
chair. Finish the rocking
Oh yeah.
in the room,
So
last room on the left,
yeah,
there's a rocking chair, and there's an old man sitting in it.
yeah, then it's
Tell
moving. Yeah, it's moving
it
back.
was moving.
It's rocking. Yeah. Or I walk into a house and she'll say, "Well, there's wallpaper over there that's got flowers on it, but it's yellow wallpaper. It's off to your right. And if you go straight ahead and make a left, that's the kitchen." And stuff like that just blows me away because you go in there and it's perfect, just like she says. When you go into these places. So,
I'm a
yeah,
cheap
it's
tourist, everybody. I have clients that travel to have big vacations, and one fella, I said, kind of remember a couple places you really found intriguing. So he went to Greece and he went to this platform area with rocks around it.
oh,
And
that's cool.
he stepped into it and he's very intuitive. And he sat there for a minute. All of a sudden, he heard chitter chatter like a farmer's market. And I went there and he didn't tell me that. And I went, kind of yelling to the phone, oh my God, look at all these people. They're all walking around. And he had tapped into a layer in time and he stayed there. So when I blended with him and where he was sitting, I went to the same spot and the
Hmm.
same time. I love it. People take vacations. I have a lady client in New York. Pardon me, in Scotland, and she'd go to castles, and I'd be in her head, like, oh, I love this. And she and her husband, before he passed away, they took this tour, and they went too close to the cliff, like
Uh
got,
oh.
and I saw, I went, did you look closely to where you were going to go? And she says, all the roads are like this up here. No one, really close to the edge. And I go, no, I can't do that. I'm a cheap tourist. I'd rather do it this way. It's really fun. If you guys have abilities, Shar does keep classes. I do have classes. I don't teach, but I have the packages, but she does one-on-one. I love this, and I would encourage you to do this. Hard work, I must be okay because I'm doing it 32 years now, 33 in May.
Yeah.
So I encourage you to do it. I get the biggest kick out of these abilities, and I think that most of these people tap into these shows have that. I wonder if I could do this. I wonder what's going on or what's the truth. But we're getting close at 7:30. Um,
Anyway,
tell
yeah,
me,
getting back to the donation. Let's go back to that. It's a donation. There's no set amount. I don't know if we're going to set an amount at some point, but
we'll
I
probably
mean,
set a minimum.
yeah, like a minimum, but it won't be a very high minimum because we want to make this affordable for people.
Hmm. Hmm. But
Okay.
we're willing to. I really think that Shar could do a lot of
Hmm.
help people. Yes, that's me doing this, but I do love it, and it's just a way to help her organization.
Hmm.
Absolutely. Keep the computer updated
Yeah.
as she
Keep this
struggles every day.
keep this bad boy coming. Yeah. This thing is
Oh,
yeah. All I do is run out of memory on the computer. It sucks. But yeah. So, and we love doing this stuff. We love helping people. That's what we do. We love to help and
Uh-huh.
educate. That's our job.
Yeah.
That's why we're here. That's why we're here every Friday. That's why I'm on every night, with you guys, with different guests to educate y'all. Y'all.
Yeah.
But that's why it's Friday.
I'm
But
looking at my
this is
notes. I
my
have so many things here.
this is my second show today because I did a pre-record this morning. Also, I want to announce too, so everybody understands this. The week that I'm in Disneyland, all those shows are going to be pre-recorded. Okay, so you're going to get a full show, but it'll be pre-recorded. And in addition, so you're getting two for the price of one, because in addition to those shows to watch, I'm going to be going out live from Disneyland. So you're going to not only get the live Disneyland feeds, you're going to get the regular show. So it's going to be a busy week for everybody. Just like I taped last night. I taped the show last night because Nancy and I were working on other projects last night, so I had to tape the show for last night. So yeah, so I can't be in two places at once. So that's what happens, right? But anyway, as we're sliding into the weekend, good thoughts for you guys. Monday, we're going to have a witch on, a male warlock is going to come on with us.
Warlock. Yeah, Warlock.
And he likes to educate people about Wicca. And so we're going to be talking with him on Monday. His name is, hang on, I can't see anything. It's dark in here today. Oh, there it is. It's J. Allen Cross. See, guys, if you wonder how I read all this stuff, see, I got myself a little, thing. Here. Just like they do for TV and real radio. Yeah, so he's going to be on with us Monday, 6:30 p.m. Pacific. Of course, Sunday I'll be reading the witch book that we've been reading. That book's getting more and more interesting. If only I could understand what they're talking about, but that's okay. I'm good as I'm reading, but that book's getting more and more fascinating. Okay. Anyway, getting back to this other thing, if you guys want, would like to do that, either you can contact me or contact Nancy. If you guys want to do that, to have that reading done. So yeah, and it's a full reading. It's not like she's gonna throw you the wolves after 5 minutes or whatever. It's a full blown reading. So I mean, it's a good deal. It's a really good deal. And then it helps out California Haunts as well. All right, you have anything else to add there, boss?
Oh, I really had a fun show tonight. I enjoy this.
And we're going to be working on. I found a way that we might be able to broadcast the show live to TikTok as we're doing the show here every night. So I think I might have found an answer to that. So I'm going to have to play around with it and put some more software on my computer, which is going to have a heart attack. But I'm going to see how that works. And
that's why the donations.
That's why the donations. I need a bigger hard drive, kids. So I'm going to be playing around with that the next few days and see if I can't do that, because it would be nice to be able to be live on TikTok the same time we're doing this lovely show, right? I mean, we can technically, but unfortunately, the way it's set up, they can't hear the guest. So I'm trying to get a way to where TikTok can be on my desktop, or my desktop can be on TikTok. Oh, I said the word
TikTok studio, live studio.
Yeah, so I can be on TikTok at the same time, and they can hear everything that goes on. So we're working on all that stuff. I know you guys don't care. You like
it's really can be complicated, everybody.
Yeah.
We were on TikTok last night, and I went, "Oh, fudge!"
It's kind of like that one Halloween movie where after a certain amount of time the heads explode. That's about where it's at.
Oh,
with all this technology and trying to figure it out. I'm too old for this. No, I'm kidding. But anyway,
don't. If I can do it, you can too.
But I want to thank everybody for coming tonight. And I know it's Friday and everybody wants to slide into your weekends. It's going to be a nice sunny weekend for everybody. And I hope you get out and do stuff. I'm taking starting to take my Christmas decorations out front down finally. I figure I'm okay.
Yeah, but she has 3 trees.
Well, yeah, the neighbor that's catty corner across from me, across the way, his lights are still on at night. So I figure as long as he's on, I'm turning on. And there's a guy on the street that has them on still. So whatever, I'm not the only guy.
You go to Char's house, you have to have sunglasses on because you got 3 trees.
Viva Las Vegas.
Viva Las Vegas. I love it.
Yeah, Viva Las Vegas.
But it made her mother happy.
Yeah. So then we still do it. So anyway, so I hope you guys have a great weekend. But I'll see you guys at 6:30 p.m. Pacific. I promise to be live on Sunday, so I can read the book. And just FYI, we have about 9 hours left in that book with the reading. So another 9 weeks, and then we'll be out of that, if not sooner. And on the Anna Maria Manalo's book. So yeah, so it's going to get busy here. Anyway, If you like the show, here we go. Let me sit up. I love this chair because it leans
Thumbs up.
back. Yeah, there we go. Ha! There, I'm taller now. Look, got a mic coming out of my head. If you like the show, share it with 5 people. If you hated the show, share it with 5 of your enemies. We are equal opportunity here at California Haunts Radio. And again, for the people that have come in that maybe haven't seen us before, if you like the show and you're watching from Facebook, please be sure to share and be sure to like the show and be sure to follow. Okay, you can follow either at my Facebook page or you can follow at California Haunts Ghostly Events page, or you might even follow on Nancy's page. Right? Okay. So
Yes, there you
be
go.
sure to follow. Yeah. And then again, we're gonna go to YouTube. Okay, bottom right hand corner, right there. That's the ghosty. Click on him, and that will, if you haven't done so already, that will subscribe you to our YouTube page, and lots of videos there to look from, and that'll alert you to stuff that's coming up. You can also find me on Instagram and follow me over there at Ghosty Gal, or Twitter at CalHaunts, or even if you're into TikTok, you can find us at TikTok at California Haunts, all lowercase. I'm out
Oh,
of breath now.
Pamela, thank you for the love the show. Thank you,
I'm out of
sweetie.
breath now.
Are you out of breath?
I'm out of breath. That did it.
I had one little lady on another show ask the girls in the room if I do readings. Of course I do. I won't stop working until I can no longer talk. And hopefully that's years from now. So um, I've enjoyed the show tonight. I hope I
Yes.
gave everybody new information that they normally don't hear.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like copying what everybody else has because you hear the same thing over and over. So I try to
Right.
be diverse, and nothing
Right.
against anybody else because we all do it our own way. You have to.
Right.
We have variety.
Right.
People are
So I want
different.
to
Thank
I
God.
want to thank everybody for following us, and the ones that have been die hard, and for everybody that watched tonight. I'm George, my good friend in France, gave me a like tonight. Oh, there's 3 likes. How many likes we got? 3 likes. So one of those likes is from my
Yay!
good friend George. Let's see who else. Let's see who else likes us tonight. We got one from George, and we got Marisa and Jor and Pamela. Okay, cool. So thank you guys for the likes. I really appreciate it. You give me likes, I'll
Thank
mention
you.
your name on the air.
Maybe they don't want to know me. No.
I really don't want to know. But yeah, George is my friend. I do believe George is my friend in France. And he's been following us for a long time, and I thank you for that. I really do. We reach out all over the world to talk to people and to entertain and all that. So, yeah. But thank you all for coming tonight, and I will see you guys on Sunday evening when we read the book. I'm going to call it the book. So let me get this thing here down here. Okay, there it is. Remember, I'm blind. I have no contacts right now. Oh yeah, and if you haven't already, there is a link in Nancy's bio on here that's down below. Come on over and join my Discord. Okay, we have a Discord chat room, and I'm not trying to take anything away from Facebook or anything like that. But remember that AG we talked about, that anything goes thing we talked about. That's right. It's rated anything goes. So if you guys go over sign up for Discord, we will talk about anything goes. That's where we hang out after hours and just chit chat back and
Isn't
forth.
that called community?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
For those who
So
don't
we,
know what AG means.
So California Haunts Discord, and you guys who join will be known as my ghostly groupies. In fact, let me show you this. What are we doing? Where's the button? See, I can't even see the button. There we go. Okay, see, you'll be my ghostly groupies over on Discord, and the ghostly groupies get to talk about anything they want. Doesn't have to be anything about ghosts. It could be anything under the sun, as long as it's nothing scary. Well, you know what I mean by scary, okay? Because ghosts are scary. But anyway, yeah. So come on over to Discord. The link is in Nancy's bio. I may have to put a new link up because sometimes they only last like a week. So let me know if the link is working for you, and then I'll set up a new link, to get you if it doesn't. Okay, that's enough. I'll shut up and have a good couple days, and I'll see you on Sunday.
Good night, everybody.
Oh,
I love it. Live.
I'm way ahead of myself. I want to get the hell out of here. You can tell. Book of reading with me. That's the wrong one too. Uh-oh. Oh no, there it is. I thought I got rid of
That
it.
works.
People are watching this going, what an idiot. Websites, nancymatz.com, nancymatzauthor.com with the N, M, and A capitalized. And you got youtube.com/Nancy Matz Psychic with the N, M, and P up. Okay. Help get me out of this funk, Nancy Matz. That's the books. Dun, 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 dun. Two worlds developing your psychic skills. And the unwilling sacrifice. And you can get those at Amazon, guys.
What happened to the one with Book of Reading with Nancy? I like that one too.
Oh, here we go. We can do that right here. Ready?
Yeah, let's
I
put
got
that
that.
up.
Here we go. Book of Reading with Nancy. There we go. Book of
There.
Reading with
That should
me.
be first. I like that.
Yeah, I like that too.
Well, put that up first.
That's a Nancy. Yeah, I'll add that in.
I
can
like
add that
that.
in. I can
You
add
did
that
a
in.
good job. Uh-huh.
Purdy. It's Purdy.
It
It's
is. It's
Purdy. It's
just
Purdy.
me. Yeah.
It's Purdy. I got a message here. Hang on. Let's see, Jenny. Before I go, is this a happy message? 99. Yes, thanks, Jen. Yeah, it's a happy message. We like happy messages in this house. Okay, guys, this is it. I'm actually really going to push the button now. Okay, so have a good one. See you Sunday.